Hello and welcome to the JB&M Sports Fanatic channel. Thank you for joining me for this video. And so the Jets have added Matt Burke to the coaching staff in a game management type of role. And so Matt Burke, he served as the Dolphins defensive coordinator under Adam Gates. And so for Jets fans, you're probably thinking, oh boy, here we go again. It seems that the Jets really have a thing for Adam Gates and apparently people that worked for him. But with that being said, though, this is obviously, different opportunity, a different role, matter of fact, as well. So definitely he will be fulfilling a game management role focused on situational football rather than working with any particular position group. And so they really like what he brings to the table in terms of situational football. I know that, Bill Belichick, he has a strong emphasis on situational football and the importance there is thereof of being able to take advantage of situational football. That is something that the Patriots have been really great at over the last few decades. And so that's definitely an important role on being able to focus on situational football. So a great opportunity for Matt there. And he served as the Dolphins coordinator, as I mentioned, in 2017 and 2018, and worked with Jets senior defensive assistant and cornerbacks coach Tony Alden in his final season with Miami. He spent the last 2 years with the Eagles. He was their run game coordinator, defensive line coach in 2020, and was previously a linebackers coach for the Dolphins, Bengals, and Lions. And so I'll go ahead and take a deeper dive into Matt Burke and how his career basically began and how it took off. This is one of the more intriguing paths to how he became, a coach in the NFL. And so basically, but before I go through that, I'll just go ahead and recap his time in the NFL as a coach. So his coaching career basically goes from 2004 to 2020 and now 2021. He has in 17 years of coaching an overall record of 127 wins, 144 losses, and 2 ties, giving him just below a 47% win percentage. He's actually 0 for 7 in the playoffs. Wow, that has not won a playoff game yet. But obviously, it's not like he was the head coach or on the field. You just do the best that you can do. But to make it to the playoffs 7 times, that is impressive there. And so um, let's see. So, yeah, his career began actually with the Tennessee Titans. He was an administrative assistant from 2004 and 2005. And so, talk about different ways to, everybody's always wondering how do you become an NFL coach, or at the, to get in that role, honestly. And so, he started off as an administrative assistant. And then in 2006, he was given the defensive assistant coach and quality control coach that year for the Titans as they went 8-8. And then 2007, he maintained that same position as defensive assistant and quality control coach as they went 10-6. His first playoff game happened that year, but they lost as well. I believe that may have been the year that Vince Young was quarterbacking for the Tennessee Titans. And then in 2008, same position. They went 13-3, but lost in the playoffs in the first round. I remember that year for the Titans. I believe Kerry Collins took over for Vince Young as Vince Young had got injured that year. Went 13-3 in the regular season, but they still got outed in their first playoff game. And then in 2009, he went to the Detroit Lions as a linebackers coach, and he went 2-14 in his first year with them in 2009, 2010 6-10, 2011 he went 10-6, and they made the playoff game, but they lost one game. I believe Jim Schwartz was the coach that year. 2012 they went 4-12. 2013 they went 7-9, and throughout all those years he was the linebackers coach. And then in 2014, he was the linebackers coach for the Bengals. They went 10-5-1. They got put out in the first round of the playoffs. And then the following year, 2015, they went 12-4 and got put out in the first round of the playoffs again. And then he went to Miami in 2016 as a linebackers coach. They went 10-6 and got put out in the first round of the playoffs. And then in 2017, with the Dolphins, they actually promoted him to defensive coordinator, and the Dolphins went 6-11 that year. And then in 2018, they went 7-9, both of those years up under Adam Gase. And then in 2019, he was the defensive special assistant coach, in which they went 9-7, but lost the first playoff game for the Eagles. And then in this past season, he was the defensive run game coordinator, defensive line coach, and the Eagles went 4-11 and won this past season, having not made the playoffs. And so that is a summary of his coaching career. So let's get back to how his coaching career actually got started, though. Like before the job with the Titans, didn't work our way up. And so he graduated from an Ivy League school. And at that time, he proposed to his wife while hiking with gorillas. And so that is very interesting. um, and once, let's see, he once called a literal storage closet his office. And so he was working out the closet basically. He is the most one of the more intriguing run game coordinators and defensive line coaches in the world, you could say. And that is because, he has traveled to an estimated 40 countries and nearly attended medical school. So that means he's very well traveled. So he obviously can think of things from a different point of views. He's seen different cultures, different customs. So that helps him to relate to different types of players and just different situations, honestly. He's clearly comfortable, like just being in different situations. So I guess it makes sense that the Jets will bring him on as a situational coach. But with that being said, his interest in coaching began at Dartmouth College, and where he walked on to the school's football team and was a member of the undefeated Ivy League championship squad in 1996. Burke's Ivy League education, feasibly could take him, anywhere he wanted to go in life, but he wanted to, stay on the path of, I mean, obviously medical school for him was an option, but, his desire was to study the football game, and that's what he really wanted to do. So that overtook his desire to, study x-rays and things of that sort. Um, and by the way, I am reading from the PhiladelphiaEagles.com news. And so that is where I'm, getting this information here from Matt Burke. But yeah, so he began his career at an all boys prep school at Bridgeton Academy in Maine before graduating to becoming a graduate assistant at Boston College, where he earned his master's. He may have been, let's see, bargaining career as a coach, but his parents were a little worried, as a career in coaching was not what they expected when they sent their son to an Ivy League institution. Yeah, I certainly understand that. I mean, just if you're going to an Ivy League school, you're probably not going for sports. And so to have, the fact that he was able to, get his master's and everything, and obviously medical school was coming into play. That's a very amazing route there. But I mean, hey, he chose football and it's working out for him. He insisted that coaching was instead the path for him, and he had to become a salesman of the sorts, selling his parents, of course, the pursuit of his dream job. It took him a while for them to buy in, but obviously, it looks like they'd be bought in now that they see that it's actually working. And so, fast forward, he actually had got a call from the Titans, and they were interested in possibly that they were interested in talking to him. And so Burke eventually got a call from Jim Shorts, who at the time was the team's defensive coordinator. And so Shorts, he liked what Burke brought to the table, but was, kind of wrapped up in the NFL draft prep that he was unable to meet with Burke in person. So Shorts instructed Burke to hang tight until after the draft, and the two would discuss things further. At that time, Burke, was only 26, and obviously this is a tremendous opportunity to be in the NFL. So yeah, he got to work on that resume, and he began reaching out to anyone he knew that could potentially have a connection to Shorts so they could put in a good word for him. And so Burke's persistence caught Shorts' attention, but not quite in the way he originally intended, they're saying. And so, yeah, basically Shorts, got on to him about, he thought he told him to wait till after the draft. They're a little busy. And so, but yeah, he got the resume. And so basically, yeah, he basically annoyed Shorts for the longest, until Shorts, finally was like, you know what, I'll go ahead and give this guy a call back. I mean, Short sounds like he wanted to go ahead and talked to Matt, after everything was taken care of, and was a little annoyed that Matt kept, barking up, trying to get his attention. Obviously it's a big opportunity, so he didn't want to lose that. So, but yeah, and so, and then from there, obviously things worked out. He was able to get his opportunity in this league, and so it's interesting how that got started off. Honestly, I mean, if you look back at it now that he's been in the league for 17 years, just yeah, and then from Jeff Fisher, giving him his first entry level job with the Titans, that is very surreal. And an interesting part as well is that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was one of the first ones to congratulate him in person. Can you imagine having a 7 foot guy who is just tremendous, like was fantastic Hall of Famer at what he did, and so he's the first one to reach out to you and congratulate you. That is fantastic. I mean, what a story this was. And so yeah, this definitely is a great opportunity though for Matt to continue, moving up the ladder. Perhaps someday he'll be an NFL head coach if that's what he chooses to do, or perhaps who knows, maybe he'll continue to move up and become some type of GM or something. But he's definitely um, on a good path here. And but how it got started is one of the most untraditional paths you can probably think of, honestly. So with that being said, though, thank you so much for joining me for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And as always, as more news continues to drop, you can be sure to find it here. So thanks again for watching, and see you guys next time.